If I start telling people about hell, I might just scare them off. Where are you going to scare them off to? Hell number 2? Or are you just going to sit there and let them burn?
Speaking of the experience that you were talking about this lady had, are you guys familiar with Alan Moore and Grant Morrison?
No,
I am not.
Okay, well, these are two authors of comic books, and Alan Moore, he's a dark magician, and he tells it all. It's okay, all right. You know, V for Vendetta, Watchmen, and all this, and he basically says his words are magic. But put him to the side for a second. Grant Morrison comes in, and he's talking about what you just mentioned. But however, he was on drugs, but not at the time that he had the experience with these entities. He said he wasn't smoking, he wasn't high, drunk, or anything. And they supposedly took him to the Pleiades. And they gave him secret knowledge. And they told him what to say, and he, in turn, put this in his comic books. And the children are now sucking us up.
Clip, Chris, I think we still have that clip. We have that clip that we played a few shows ago, probably about 8 or 10 shows ago, where we played and he explained, like what Chris is saying. If you could line that up, that would be great, and you would hear them telling you exactly what they're about, and this is how they pass it on to little kids.
Yes, indeed, and I have to look for the clip. But I have another question. Do you guys know about Kinsey?
Yes.
Who?
Kinsey.
Alfred Kinsey.
Oh, Alfred Kinsey and his connection to Crowley.
Yes, and how he developed our modern sexual education program. He basically took pedophiles and brought them in to do an experiment on young kids, and that's how he came up with this program. I'm condensing a long story here, but that's what happened. And it's going back into everything that we're talking about here. And, of course, his connection with Crowley and the pornographic industry and their connection with Crowley is very interesting. So if you haven't seen The Kinsey Syndrome, it's a very good documentary on this. And it's on YouTube anyway, but you can either buy it or watch it on YouTube. But it's very good to watch on that subject. But in the meantime, go ahead, Rory, or anyone else while I look up this clip.
No, I am amazed about what you just said, because for a long time, the research that we have been doing, if I go to rap music, I see the symbology that's there, okay, and I stopped. I go to shamanism, because we were doing a show on the shamans and even Pokemon. So the shamanism and Pokemon and some of the monsters are the imagery that's used there. When there was a guy that interviewed a shaman, he has never been to America, never been to the West, and he says, it doesn't speak any English. He said, that is that demon. That is that demon. I've seen that. And like you said, I think you really hit the nail on the head when you said this is not just being transferred from human to human, but you have some power that it's transposing this information, and people are latching on. You know, I don't know if you have anything else to say or share with that. And I have, after that, one more thing. And when you talked about training the children, I think one of the major things that we see today, or the enemy that we have, that a lot of people don't know how to deal with, is Islam, and what Islam is doing, and how Islam is taking over. And one of the things that I saw a year ago was when the father, I think he was from Australia, they've been teaching the kids how to behead someone, and how you saw the pictures or the image of the child having the knife. The child couldn't do it necessarily, but the child is being trained from a very early age to have that knife in the hand and the head in the other hand. And maybe you want to share with that, talk about that, but these are some of the things that I've seen.
Before I found the clip, so before we get into the rest of the stuff, let me just play the clip real quick. And this is Grant Morrison talking about chaos magic and all this stuff. All right, here we go.
The deal is this. I've been writing this comic for the last 6 years, and the weird thing was, like you, like everyone here, we're trying to figure what's going on. Why do we feel different? Why don't we fit into this world? Why do we think that they're not telling us the truth? So I went out and I read Robert Anton Wilson's books when I was 20 years old, which is 20 years ago now. And I figured, this guy issue with me. He says we can talk to aliens, we can talk to people from Sirius. Is he talking crap? He said Aleister Crowley's got methods for contacting alien intelligence and for changing the world. Is he talking crap? So I did it. And no, he's not talking crap. Right? And we can all do it. And this is by way of trying to demolish the counterculture and replace it with something useful. We're just going to start here and see where we get to. When I started doing The Invisibles, which is a comic book for people who haven't seen the thing, it's a comic book which is kind of my attempt to explain what happened to me after I'd been abducted by aliens in Kathmandu in 1994. And the only reason I was abducted by aliens in Kathmandu in 1994 is because I went to Kathmandu in 1994 to be abducted by aliens. And it works, right? And these they will turn up. And what they told me was this, and they tell everyone the same issue, but it's in different perspectives, it's from different nervous systems, it seems to be filtered through everyone's own view of the world, but they keep telling us the same issue. So I met these guys, I'm sitting in the roof garden of the Vajra Hotel in Kathmandu, and I was totally doing tons of dope, but in my defence, I do like a quarter of dope a day, and I've been doing it since 1990. So I know the ish, and as you all know, everyone out there who's ahead and who knows what I'm talking about, you don't hallucinate, right? If you go to the garage, it's not the garage. If you go to the 7-Eleven, it's the 7-Eleven. You might be stoned, you might be picking up lots of interesting little bits and pieces that you don't normally get when you're straight, but you know what's real and you know what's not real. So, as I say in my defence, man, I was loaded. But this was the end of a week in which I'd been loaded every single day, and I'm sitting up there in the roof garden, and suddenly these puffs arrive. And they arrive en masse, and they look exactly like Terence McKenna described. Why is that? Because I just read Terence McKenna a year before. What they told me was they took me out of my body, I wasn't in my body anymore. This doesn't normally happen with hash, this happens on DMT or it happens on ketamine or something, right? I'm on hash, a tiny little bit, size of a lentil, and I start tripping and I'm out of my body. And these look up to me and they said, where do you want to go? The first thing I said was Alpha Centauri, which is the first thing you would say, of course. And they took me to Alpha Centauri, and it's real, it's there, there's 3 suns, the whole thing was moving exactly as we're told it's supposed to move astronomically. And I'm there, and I said to them, well, what the hell's going on here? As you might. And they said, we've come to tell you this stuff so that you can put it in your work and explain it to the world. Right? Why do they always say that to everyone? Why do they always tell everyone to go out and tell the world what's going on, and everyone tells us the same ish?
Yeah, so I guess you guys can comment on that.
Well, you know, when you meet these people, or you even hear a testimony like what you just heard, there's no convincing them that they did not encounter aliens, that they did not encounter a ghost, that they did not encounter a friendly spirit, or whatever it is that demon said that they were, you know, to that person. And it's very difficult to, you know, to pull these people out of this deception. So, I mean, we see this a lot, and of course we hear so many testimonies of people who've been abducted by aliens and who've had encounters by aliens. And, you know, I mean, we know as believers the only way to put a stop to aliens, demons, and, you know, all that other stuff is through the authority of Christ. But, yeah, I don't know. That's chilling. He went purposely to get abducted by aliens. That's just crazy. People are playing with stuff that they have no clue. He's opening himself wide open to whatever they have to say, and whatever they say, no matter how crazy the lie is, he's going to believe it.
Right.
Absolutely. And the other thing about it is, the other thing about it too is that now he comes back and he writes these things for kids. and the kids are being brainwashed. You see, and you notice everybody there, they were laughing. He said, that's what I went there for. You know, he went there because he wanted to trip, and he wanted to have this experience.
See if it worked. To see if it worked.
To see if it really worked.
Yeah. And notice, I know earlier I said that he wasn't high or drunk, but he said he had a little bit of hash, just a little, and then he started tripping. And for all the listeners out there, let you know that aliens are demons, not from another galaxy or something like that. They're either fallen angels or
Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
If you like our videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get all our frequent updates.